You are about to discover why the empty chair at the banquet, the silent walk home, the unaccompanied figure in the crowd, strikes a primal chord of dread in the human psyche. This is not a video about coping with loneliness. This is a masterclass in psychological warfare through strategic absence. You have been gaslit by a society that pathologizes your self-sufficiency to keep you compliant, needy, and exploitable. They call your depth depression, your independence arrogance, and your selective silence a social disorder. But I see the raw, unclaimed power vibrating beneath your resentment. You are not sick, you are sanctioned, and the moment you stop apologizing for your solitude is the moment you become a sovereign entity in a world of dependent serfs. Look at the frantic, laughing crowds. That is not joy, it is a terror management ritual, a desperate collective hallucination to forget the terrifying freedom and responsibility of being an individual. They cling to each other because they are afraid of the revelations that come in the quiet. You are not, and that silent courage is the first fissure in the foundation of their entire world. This quote is not poetic consolation, it is a tactical blueprint. Machiavelli is not describing a feeling, he is declaring a geopolitical fact of the psyche. When you are alone, you are not lacking a world, you have consolidated it. Every external relationship, every social obligation, every performative interaction is a territory ceded, a piece of your psychic sovereignty handed over to a foreign power. The crowd, the party, the relationship, these are not connections, they are subtle annexations. They demand your attention, your emotional labor, your ideological conformity in exchange for the fleeting, worthless currency of belonging. And you, the intelligent one, have been the generous, bankrupted king, giving away your inner kingdom piece by piece, wondering why you feel like a displaced refugee in your own mind. Your solitude is the act of recalling your ambassadors, fortifying your borders, and declaring neutrality in their exhausting, meaningless wars for social status. This is why they react with such visceral, disproportionate fear when you walk alone. You are not rejecting them. You are rejecting the entire corrupt treaty they have built their lives upon. Your quiet exit is a secession. And nothing terrifies a crumbling empire more than a peaceful, self-sufficient state that no longer needs its protection racket. If these ideas are the forbidden keys you've been searching for, hit that subscribe button. This is the armory where we forge psychological sovereignty. Drop sovereign silence in the comments below. That is your declaration of independence. Now let us weaponize your isolation. Your first strategic law is the autonomy paradox. The more inaccessible you become, the more power is projected onto you. This is the core mechanic of dark psychology and human hierarchy. In a transparent, overshared world, mystery is the ultimate capital. When you walk alone, you become a black hole in their social universe, a gravitational anomaly they cannot map. Their brain, a pattern recognition machine wired for threat assessment, goes into overdrive. It must simulate your interiority. And because their own interior world is a chaotic mess of insecurities and base impulses, that is what they project onto you. They do not fear your loneliness. They fear the monster their own mind creates in the void of your silence. This is not passive. It is an active psychological operation you conduct by mere absence. You are employing a Machiavellian strategy of calculated opacity. The prince who is too familiar becomes contemptible. The prince who is glimpsed only in ceremony becomes untouchable. Your solitude is your ceremony. Every meal taken alone, every event attended without a +1, every piece of personal data you withhold is a brick in the fortress wall. You are not hiding. You are forcing them to negotiate with a legend of their own making. This is the genesis of true, effortless social dominance. Stop trying to explain yourself. Start letting their desperate, fearful imaginations do the work for you. Your power grows in direct proportion to their uncertainty. The second law is the brutal, non-negotiable thermodynamics of power. Attention is not just currency, it is the very plasma of your consciousness, and the crowd is a parasitic reactor designed to siphon it. Every group conversation is an energy market. Every social obligation is a tax. Every performance of likability is a withdrawal from your finite reserves of focus and will. You leave these interactions feeling drained because you have been literally depleted. Solitude is not rest, it is strategic reinvestment. It is the closed-loop system where your psychic energy, no longer leaked to vampires, compounds into mental fortitude. While the herd expends 90% of its cognitive capital on monitoring social standing, passing gossip, and managing collective emotions, you are directing 100% of yours towards strategic thinking, skill acquisition, and the fortification of your inner kingdom. This creates a compounding advantage so severe it becomes a form of tactical superiority. When they are emotionally bankrupt from yesterday's drama, you are operationally fresh. When they need the crowd's roar to feel conviction, you draw on a deep, silent well of certainty. This is the power dynamic shift they sense in their gut. You have withdrawn from a system rigged for your depletion. You are no longer a battery in their machine. You have become the off-grid power plant they can only wonder about in the dark. The third law is the cognitive sanction. Groups are intellectual death. Solitude is the only environment where true, dangerous intelligence can form. The crowd does not think, it vibrates. It creates a psychological gravity that crushes unique thought into the flat, safe paste of consensus. Your greatest weapon, your nuanced, critical, often inconvenient mind, is neutralized in this environment. You feel yourself softening your edges, swallowing your insights, nodding along to stupidity to maintain the fragile peace. This is not social grace. It is intellectual treason. You are betraying your shadow, the ruthless, brilliant, unapproved part of you that sees the truth, to appease the court of fools. Strategic solitude is your coup. It is the silent, smoke-filled room where your independent thought plots its takeover. Here, you are free to follow a chain of logic to its terrifying conclusion without interruption. Here, you can reconcile contradictory truths that would cause a group to implode. Here, you perform the emotional intelligence that matters, auditing your own motivations, interrogating your own biases, integrating your suppressed aggression into a cold, usable force. This is where you develop a Machiavellian strategy for your own cognition. Your mind is a council of one, and you are the ruthless sovereign who tolerates no weak advisors. When you return to the social arena, you do not bring opinions for debate. You deliver psychic edicts. They will call you dogmatic. They will whisper that you think you're better, and they will be right. Your thought, forged in the silent furnace of alone time, is annealed to a hardness theirs will never achieve. You're not participating in the conversation. You are issuing a cognitive sanction against its mediocrity. The fourth law is the panopticon advantage. You cannot decode the system when you are a emoting component within it. Engagement is blindness. Participation is captivity. When you are constantly reacting, justifying, and performing, you are a data point being processed, not a scientist analyzing the experiment. Solitude elevates you to the position of the warden in the psychological panopticon. You withdraw to the central watchtower. From this vantage point of detached observation, the entire prison yard of social dynamics becomes clear. You see the unspoken alliances, the hidden power struggles, the subtle manipulations that are invisible to the participants. This is not passive watching, it is active intelligence gathering. Your silence becomes a hypersensitive receiver. Your lack of emotional entanglement allows you to perceive the power dynamics with clinical precision. You note who seeks validation, who leads through guilt, who is one slight away from betrayal. You are mapping the dark psychology of the herd while they are too busy bleating to notice the pen. This is the ultimate manipulation defense. You cease to be manipulable because you can see the strings. When you choose to engage, it is with the devastating accuracy of a sniper who has been studying the wind for hours. You offer the exact words that disarm, the precise silence that unnerves, the calculated vulnerability that is actually a trap. This is emotional invincibility. You are no longer playing the game on the emotional level. You are the architect studying the game's source code. Your strategic solitude has transformed you from a pawn into the game master who designed the board. The fifth and most psychologically violent law is the betrayal calculus. This will attack the deepest, most sacred cow, the myth of friendship as an unalloyed good. I am not saying to have no allies, I am saying to understand the cold mathematics of trust. Every relationship is a strategic liability before it is an asset. Betrayal is not an anomaly. It is a constant statistical probability that increases with proximity and emotional disclosure. The person who can destroy you is not your enemy. It is the friend who knows where you have buried your shames and your dreams. The crowd sells you companionship as a safety net, but it is often the net that tangles you and delivers you to your predators. Your kindness, your loyalty, these are not virtues in the Machiavellian reality of human nature. They are exploitable vulnerabilities, data points in someone else's cost-benefit analysis. The strategic hermit recalculates the entire equation. You start from the inviolable premise: your core self is a non-negotiable sovereign state. All other entities are foreign powers. Diplomacy is preferred. Trade is beneficial. Alliances can be powerful, but integration is suicide. Your solitude is the maintenance of your own standing army. It ensures you never need an alliance for survival, only for mutual advantage. This flips the power dynamics with breathtaking finality. When you do not need them, your presence becomes a granted concession, your trust a high-value commodity, your attention a rare resource. You stop managing the draining, high-risk liabilities of emotional dependency. You start conducting austere, profitable diplomacy. Your circle becomes a hand-picked council, not a needy tribe. This is the zenith of weaponized detachment. You are protected not by the loyalty of others, a fickle and fragile thing, but by the absolute unassailable fact of your own self-containment. Betrayal requires something to betray. You have made your inner world a classified black site facility. There are no guided tours. This is your transformation. You are not the lonely outcast. You are the strategic hermit. You are the living embodiment of the Autonomy Paradox, a master of psychic thermodynamics, a sovereign under cognitive sanction, a warden with the panopticon advantage, and a cold accountant of the betrayal calculus. Your solitude is no longer an empty space. It is a field of focused potency. The loneliness you felt was the phantom pain of a severed psychic leash. The quiet you inhabit is the sound of your own power, compounding in the vault. They will never stop trying to lure you back. They will dangle invitations, manufacture crises that require your support, and pathologize your peace as sadness. Recognize these for what they are: the desperate tactics of a system facing a resource drain. You are the resource, and you have just declared a permanent embargo. If you are ready to wear your solitude not as a scar, but as the insignia of a rank they cannot comprehend, type hermitage in the comments. Let that word be our silent handshake, the mark of those who build empires in the quiet. This channel is the silent broadcast for sovereign minds. It is where we develop the psychological infrastructure of the unconquerable self. If you are done being a casualty of the social war and are ready to become its undisputed detached victor, subscribe. We do not build community here. We build internal citadels, and from the ramparts of those citadels, the noise of the world fades into irrelevance. What you do next is critical. The on-screen video is not a suggestion. It is a strategic necessity. It details the one physical stance, the single, silent posture that broadcasts absolute, unconcerned dominance and preemptively dismantles aggression. It is the bodily manifestation of everything we have weaponized today. This is not optional knowledge. It is the next piece of your armament. I will see you there. See what others miss. Know what others fear. Become who others can't.